We'll find out, huh? We're gonna get it, y'all. It's coming. Working on it right now. Okay, y'all. Ready? 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 Coming, man. I'm coming. I'm bringing it all with me. And everyone. Get ready, y'all. Get ready, y'all. The tactic that... What? The tactic that what? What'd he say? Here. Yeah. It's a little wild. It's a little crazy. But, you know, what you going to expect from me? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going live with this. We're gonna get this thing right, man. This is gonna be something. This is definitely gonna be something. You ready? Mm-hmm. Not too bad.
Anti-vax groups, you name it. Anti-vax groups, you name it. Tactic that I would dub the dog pile. Tactic that I would dub to where.
Oh, good girl, Athena. Okay, so you all see it, right? So that's one. Yeah, you all see it. That's one. So let's go ahead and get this thing straightened out, because this is the launch of this episode right here. It's called Doghouse. It's called Doghouse, y'all. And whew, this was a tough episode to make, man. I mean, there's a lot going on here. I mean, there's a lot going on in this episode, man. And you know, like, I try to put these things together in a way where it makes sense to people. You know, and like I know a lot of people are like, man, he's got such crazy style. Like, why does he do it like this and why does he do it like that? And you know, like, I get it, but you guys just got to stay tuned, man. Like, it's coming. It's going to be something that people are going to want to watch, because you're going to learn something about canines first off, but you're also going to learn something about, like, individuals that are, like, hard workers in this field. Like, I'm so grateful to them and their participation in this. And, you know, like, without them, like, this wouldn't even have been an episode. You know, so I try to think, like, of the good that came from my brother's passing. You know, like, him leaving me this dog and me getting involved with certain individuals on a more professional level on their end, but more on a need level on my end. You know, this is the Revelation of John show, guys. This is what we're doing here. We're revealing the truth. You know, like, and I try to bring the truth. I try to bring light to dark spaces, whether it's on the internet or, you know, in real life or whatever, man. But this whole animal thing touches my heart, man. You guys got to see this. I'm going to play this. You know, I said I was going to launch it last night at 7 p.m. I gave out a bunch of bad links. Everybody's probably like, what the hell is this guy doing? You know, like, he sends out links and they're crap. Nothing works. But, you know, I think that you guys are going to... I mean, I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, what you get out of this. I'm just trying to bring more of a level of truth. You know, for the ones that don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of stuff going on. People have absolutely no idea what's going on in this world. So this is like a little intimate moment. This is part one, okay, of the doghouse videos. Hold on. This is part one.
They're definitely ready for the struggle.
Oh, sorry. This is part one of the Doghouse episodes. And there's probably going to be more than one. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely going to be a second one because I have somebody that I'm interviewing for the second one. But whether there's a 3 or a 4, I mean, it's going to, has yet to reveal itself to me. But all episode 10s from here on out is going to be dedicated to the environment, the planet, plant consciousness, all those kind of things that I haven't touched on yet, that I told you guys in episode 1 that we were going to talk about these things. Like the application of the principal care is something that you must do. You cannot get around it. So here it is. You ready? We're going to play it. And again, I want to thank all the dogs in my life. I just got this beautiful video today of a dog that I had, several years back that I handed off to somebody because I wasn't living right. I was a scumbag. And, that dog was cared for. I at least got it into good hands. And it's been cared for ever since. His name's Benji. He's a little chihuahua. He's a little fat bastard. He's always been a little fat bastard. But I'm glad to see that he's still kicking and alive at 13 years old. It shows me that the people were taking good care of him, which I wasn't able to do at the time. So, of course, my life's a lot different today. And this is how my interaction with animals are today. And, again, everyone that has helped support me with this movement and this effort, I appreciate you. I use the term, and I want to clear this up because there's a little bit of confusion with people that have been watching my stuff lately. And I want you guys to really understand that when I use the words Dynasty Recovery Lifestyle member, I'm not talking about not necessarily talking about somebody that was under my care or inside of one of my recovery houses. These are my friends. These are like extended family members to me. Every single person that dies nasty, that kills selfishness, kills ego, and puts on the happy face, man, of going about trying to do this great work. They are my tribe. That is Dynasty Recovery style. Recovery lifestyle. You got to choose a good lifestyle for yourself. We choose to not be selfish. And I want to thank the people that were involved with this. Thank you guys so much, man. I got links. If you go and hunt this stuff down, all you got to do is see the hashtag Doghouse, and then put hashtag Athena. Athena's my dog. And you'll find it anywhere. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah, she's such a good girl. Yeah, she's such a good girl. You ready to meet the world? You ready to meet the world? Huh? You think they're ready for you? They're definitely ready for the struggles that canines go through, that's for sure. All animals on this planet. All animals on this planet need love, need attention, need appreciation, and need purpose and place. It's a good girl. I dedicate this episode to you and my brother and every other dog that's ever been in my life and has continued to be in my life.
Once every 200 years, a war between the goddess Athena and the god of the underworld, Hades, takes place. The warriors who represent humans are Athena's saints, wearing the armors represented by 88 constellations.
In ancient Greek religion, Athena is the Olympian goddess of wisdom, war, and military strategy. The goddess of good counsel and practical insight, the intellectual and civilized side of war, and the virtues of justice and skill. Thus, she had moral and military superiority.
Lay down right here. Lay down. All the way. All the way. I don't even know if she's in the shot. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Let's try this again. Hi guys, my name's John Penuel Chidester III, and this is the Revelation of John show. We have a special guest this afternoon. Her name is Krystal Subers. She calls herself a rescue warrior advocate, and I agree. I happen to be in the pleasure of being a good friend with her. She is someone that I consult with when it concerns animals. It's very important to me to take proper care of my animals. And when I say that she's a rescue warrior advocate, I mean, like, there's stuff going on that a lot of people aren't aware of, and there's a lot of boots on the ground work by a lot of great individuals. She's one of 3 guests that we're going to have on the show. The second guest is going to be Kat Alston. She is going to talk about dog training, some tips, some pointers, and even if you yourself are not a pet owner, understanding the communication that occurs between you and animals is extremely important. You know, there's like 50 to 60 people that are bit by animals that die a year, and I'm willing to bet that there's a lack of communication going on there on some level, whether it's the animal's owner and the animal, or the animal and the individual involved. So there's a lot of different ways people can explore these topics, but that's my second guest. And the third guest that we're going to have is my best friend Bob Akoff's brother, Danny Akoff. Danny Akoff is he was recognized as National SPCA Officer of the Year, and he has a lot of boots on the ground work with dealing with a lot of stressful situations that animals go through, and we're looking forward to speaking with him. He has a star dog in his life that was involved with the Puppy Bowl, so that's going to be real exciting to talk about. But right here with me now is Miss Krystal, and she has a story to tell, man. She has a real serious story to tell, and I think she's going to bring some awareness to these topics that a lot of people aren't aware of. So we're going to talk about some things, and I welcome Miss Krystal.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
So you got into this, you've been involved with this for how many years now?
For like 12 plus years.
12 plus years.
Hardcore, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
hardcore.
had animals my whole life though.
Right, but you've had animals your whole life. And your
Yes.
first rescue?
My first rescue that I kept was in 2012, and he really inspired me to do more.
And this was a cat?
Yes.
Right, and
I
this,
rescued from Chester Park.
you still have this cat, right? This
Yes.
cat's a big part of your life, and it's an
Yes.
inspiration. That's
Yep.
awesome. So, well, here's the thing, right? So for 12 years, you were professionally and unprofessionally working in this field, and you've worked for a lot of different organizations. You volunteered. A lot of times it wasn't for money. You do things on a
Yes.
daily basis today. It doesn't involve receiving any money.
Correct.
You know, and God, man, you know, like I inherited Athena from my passing brother, and I was going to fly her up here with me from Florida to Pennsylvania, and we're on the eastern coast of the United States. She had, you know, suffered the grief for the loss, and, you know, she wasn't very socialized. I mean, she gets along with people, but she doesn't have a lot of people in her life, same people over and over. It was just my brother and her for the most part. And I wanted to fly her back up here, and I consulted with Krystal. You remember we had that conversation?
Yep.
And she told me, she said, no, with the psychology and, you know, the stuff that the dog's been going through, it would be in your best interest, John, to not emotionally damage her by putting her in a crate, separating her from people. And just like things like that. That's the kind of attitude, that boots on the ground work that I'm talking about. Like when you can give out solid advice and you're speaking from a level of experience. You know, so tell me, in these past 12 years, you've had some really good experiences and you've had some really bad experiences.
Yes, absolutely.
Can we talk about some of the good ones first? Because they're looking forward to the bad ones. But I want to hear about the good ones.
Well, there's lots of good ones. I used to volunteer up at a shelter in Philadelphia, a kill shelter, and I specialized in the timestamp dogs, promoting them, and those were the best moments, getting them dogs that are on death row out alive. You feel like, you know, $1 million when you do that. There's also, you know, other cases like down in Chester where there is absolutely no animal control and nothing for animals down there. Helping a lot of dogs and cats get off them streets down there. It's very rewarding.
Yeah, so like, you know, and I'm very familiar with some of these areas you're talking about. You guys, if you go back and you watch some of my episodes and footage, you'll see some of the grittiness of the streets. Yeah, it's a rough world, and you know, like these are people that are, you know, at times in and out of addictions and mental health issues, and they take on the responsibility of an animal, you know, or animals, plural, and they neglect them and they mistreat them. I mean, it's like, it's one thing to not communicate with an animal correctly, but to literally mistreat animals and beat them and abuse them because of ignorance. You know, because the animal didn't say what, you know, or the animal didn't do what you wanted it to do, and they beat the animal or they tie it up outside and it's left without water.
Yeah,
you find
all the time
All right,
that
so the bad
happens.
situations, here we go. Go ahead.
Yeah, lots of them.
Yeah, lots of them.
Dogs left out, you know, in the heat, the cold, and the laws for these animals
The
really
penalties
don't
are crazy.
protect the law.
Yeah,
the
there's no
animals.
penalties. There's no penalties. And then
Slap on the wrist.
and these people the next day can go out and purchase another animal or pick up another animal. In a lot of cases, adopt another animal. You know, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
That's
it's
crazy.
terrible.
Yeah, so I know it's hard, but you know, you want to talk about some of the worst things you've seen? What was the worst thing you've ever seen?
So when I was at the Philly shelter, ACT Philadelphia, yesterday was actually a 3-year anniversary of her passing. I was in the kennel area putting a dog away, and I heard a dog literally screaming. I've never heard this noise ever. So I hurry up, put the dog in the kennel, go check out, see what's going on. I see down the road there is a vet tech standing there outside the kennel with a stick, and the pre-youth needle is on it. And at that time there were no time-stamped dogs, and we had space in the kennel area. I also seen a kennel attendant who was a known monster when it came to scared dogs. He had no idea how to handle them. He would just throw himself on them, and that's the worst thing you can do with a scared dog. It breaks their trust. So he's in there with the catch pole, and once they walk away, I see which kennel it was. The dog's name was Lotus Flower, and she had blood all on her neck. There was drops of blood all in the kennel. This dog was brutally murdered, and she was 1 or younger. She was a very sweet, mellow dog. She was just very scared, and she didn't have the confidence yet. I was trying to work with her days prior, but she wasn't ready to step out of the kennel. And I had no idea this was going to happen to her because, as I said, there was no time-stamped dogs, and there was space. And I ran to the management asking why this dog was just murdered, and you know, they tried to justify it, said she tried to bite
Overly
a staff
aggressive.
member.
They put all these labels out there, right?
Yeah, they judge dogs, and 90% of the time they're wrong. I could never see this dog
These are
trying
people that are supposed
to
to,
bite.
they receive money from, where does this money come from? I mean, that you know of. Like
at ACT.
Well, at any of them. I mean, like,
Well,
they get
most are
grants,
donate-
right? Isn't this what
yeah,
this
some
grants and
places get
donations
grants.
from viewers like you?
Yeah.
And tax dollars from viewers like you.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, like, what is going on? And we don't hear about legislation. We don't hear about, you know, consciousness of any of this stuff, you know, and like, you know, like, I've unfortunately walked up on, you know, an expired life several times in my lifetime, and you know, like, it's a hard thing when it's a human, and it's when it's an animal, it's even worse, because the animal has no conception of, you know, like, you're taking me to this location and you're going to expire me. Like, they don't have the concept of death the way we do, you know, and they don't know what's coming, you know. So, like, that's something else, you know. Like, I'm going to put a video. Sorry.
All good.
All right, so, yeah, so in that video you'll see that there was an animal that was put to sleep, and it was euthanized, and its owner wasn't present. So, like, this is a very serious topic. 2.7 million animals in shelters yearly are murdered. So, like, I like how you use the word murder.
Yes,
Krystal,
because killing a healthy dog is murder.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting because I drove back up here from Florida with her because of that situation. And we crossed a lot of land. I mean, like, miles and miles and hundreds of miles of trees and dirt and rock and stone and mountains. We went up through North Carolina, whatever. And there's so much space on this planet. When you hear things
Yeah.
like population control for people, animals, all this stuff's bullshit. There's plenty of room for everybody to be very comfortable. And collectively we can do better, guys. We can do better on a lot of levels. So the other thing is if you live in the state of California, that's over 100,000. Texas is 96,000, almost 97,000. North Carolina was 48,000. And they've got so much land in all these places. Florida, 45,000. Louisiana, 32,000. And that's like 50% of it right there. So if you live in any of those states, you need to get involved with advocacy. You need to see what's going on. You know, and then like these animals, like you talked about, the depravity of, you know, like how they're being treated. A lot of people think, you know, pit bulls, and they think, you know, dog fights and stuff like that. I mean, have you experienced anything like that or no?
Like, what
Like-
exactly do you
Like coming across levels of abuse on that level.
Oh, well, yeah, when I was up at, you know, the Philadelphia shelter, I seen it all. The conditions these dogs would come in, you could tell some were bait dogs because all the scars and stuff on them, but still they love you. Like, they're one of the most amazing and loyal breed, and they just have a bad, you know, reputation, and it all falls back on how they're raised and the humans. Humans are the most dangerous breed on the planet,
Yeah.
and that's a fact.
Yeah, so here I am walking around thinking I'm a good dog person. You know, I never really wanted a dog. I hadn't heard a dog, but I've had dogs in my life, my entire life, inside my households, in my whole life. And, you know, like, I just couldn't imagine that even I didn't understand or deal with her correctly. You know, like, so sometimes we have to reach out for help. So I contacted somebody, and Kat Austin, she's going to be the other person I interviewed today. She's helping me to build a better bond and relationship with the dog, and that's important.
Yeah,
That's
very
real
important.
So, and we're going to get into that with her, but you know, Miss Krystal, I really appreciate what you do. Like, tell me, like, you know, nowadays, like on a course of action, like what do you do as far as attempting to help these animals?
I still promote a lot.
When
On,
she says promote, this is what she does. She's really downplaying what this is, okay? She takes pictures of animals that are about to be murdered and posts them all over the internet. That's what she does. And she tries to find homes for these animals and connections for these animals so that this doesn't happen. But this doesn't have to happen. None of this has to happen. And this is the point of you being here today and interviewing with me. And I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
You touch my heart when I see these posts, and I want you to know that. I want the world to know that. So how can people find out more about you and your posts and your internet interaction? What do you got going on as far as?
Well,
I know you have a Facebook.
Yeah, well, that's basically all I use to network the animals because I have a big following and, you know, network. So that's my go-to, and I've been very successful with posting animals on Facebook and, you know, helping a lot of them just from posts. Like, you never know who's going to see a post, and it can change that animal's life.
How many a day? How many a day?
What, posts?
Yeah. Sometimes you average like 3 or 4 a day, and then other times
sometimes it'll go a couple days. I
Yeah,
guess there's nothing going on.
Yeah, all
And then-
depends, but it's been crazy lately, especially, you know, the summertime's one of the most busiest times for the shelters and stuff, because people just dump their dogs
Yeah,
off for
yeah,
vacation.
and that's what we're, yeah. So let's
little
talk about
excuse.
that a little bit, because that's important too, right? So, you know, now, like, there's no such thing as a safe shelter or no kill shelter. There really isn't. There's some organizations out there that will do it. I'm sure you're aware of some. So you want to tell the viewers, like, locally, if you're in the tri-state area, this is who you would contact.
Oh yeah, for shelter-wise? Yeah, so around this area we have Providence Animal Shelter, which is a no-kill, but unfortunately that hurt our county when they turned no-kill, because now they do not accept strays, which is a huge issue for our county, because each municipality has to come up with something on their own, and some of our municipalities are contracted with Brandywine Valley SPCA, which is in Westchester. That's a whole different
Whole nother county that
So
they're
if
dealing with
you
all
were-
their own animals.
Yeah, if you lose your dog in Delaware County and that area is contracted with Brandywine Valley, your dog's being taken completely somewhere else.
What
and
she's
some
saying
people
is
don't
there's
even know.
counties in our area that don't have any coverage, and they rely on the resources of other counties, and those counties are only provided limited resources for their particular county, which is very limited and very non-resourceful. That's the definition
Yeah,
of what's going on, and that's scary. It's really
yeah,
scary.
it's very sad for the animals, because they pay the price. Some of these municipalities don't even have any contract with any animal control facility, especially Chester, and that is the area we see the most, you know, animals and neglect cases coming out of. And it's just terrible. These, you know, you'll call the police are supposed to help you, and unfortunately, I've dealt with this many times, the officers will say just leave the dog on the street, or release the dog back on the street, and that is against the dog law.
Yeah, that's insane.
And they get away with it, you know, because they're the police. It's really, really sad and corrupt, and it all comes down to political nonsense.
Yeah, as usual, government
Yep.
is slavery. You know, government is slavery, guys. You know, like, this is what we talk about all the time on this, you know, on this program. So, you know, like, whatever's going on next has to be something different. Like, do you have any ideas? I mean, what? I mean, I've got some ideas. Like, some of the ideas that I would come up with look like this. Okay, so the biggest reason for people taking animals to these shelters is what?
Because they're either moving, they're having a baby.
Lifestyle changes,
Yes.
guys. Come on, man.
Yeah,
You know,
come
like,
on.
listen, if you don't take on the responsibility of an animal and treat that responsibility like it's a newborn baby or another precious life in this world, if you personally cannot take on the responsibility after taking on the responsibility, then you need to find somebody that's going to take on the responsibility of taking on the responsibility.
Yeah, animals are
Does
not
that make sense?
disposable,
Yeah.
and they're a lifetime commitment.
Right.
No excuses.
Yeah, they have a life to live.
Yep.
You're either going to assist them or you're not. So if you can't make the commitment to go all the way and, like, I'm going to hold on to this dog, you know, like, until she dies, okay? But if per se I had to get rid of her for some crazy reason, I got to go to jail for 2 years, or, you know, I'm dead, something along those lines, it's my responsibility to put her into a position so that the rest of her life is okay. That's it. You know?
It's really not a difficult thing to do.
It's not. So, you know, and then the other thing was, you know, talking to your veterinarians ahead of time about the breeds that you're thinking about purchasing. You know, you want to purchase an animal because it looks cute, or, you know, it barked at you at the kennel, or, you know, wherever you're, you know, like, but, you know, like, do some homework. Like, don't just bring any animal home and not know what you're getting into. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because there's different illnesses and sicknesses that develop inside these animals. over a period of time. You know, like, unless you know about the breed, like you're really just hurting them.
Mhm.
So, I mean, what do you have to say about the breeding practices? Because I know you wanted to talk about that a little bit, like, and the puppy mills, and you know, all the stuff that goes on the end of the commercial side of pushing this all out there.
Yeah, well, you know, breeders are the reason everything is so overpopulated. And what really needs to happen to cut the overpopulation is to make breeding against the law. But unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever see that happen. It's just disturbing and disgusting what some of these people do. They use these animals just for profit.
Financial.
And they overbreed these dogs, and
the
then they
conditions that they're kept in.
yeah, they get like serious illnesses like pyrometra, which can be fatal. That also can happen to animals that are not fixed. It happens in the females. If they're not fixed, they can develop that, and it can be fatal. It's very, very bad. So it's very important to get your animal fixed, not only to prevent, you know, babies, but prevent cancers and stuff like that in the animal, males and females.
Hey, look at me. 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 Hey. Look at me. Come on, look at me. Right here, look. Hey. Look right here. You're safe. Everything's good. Hi, Bob. She goes over, tail wagging to go say hello, right?
All talk.
All talk. All right, come here, you. Get over here. Well, I guess she could play. Proper care when it comes to animals. Like, you got any suggestions? I mean, other than like things like toxicity, you know, like what you're feeding them. Like, what kind of suggestions would you make for somebody that's interested in being a dog owner and like, or has a dog and wants to be a vet owner?
Well, in regards to like food and flea and tick prevention, you never, ever, ever want to go for the cheap stuff. You know, the saying, you get what you pay for, that's exactly what, you know, goes with that, you know, like...
Yeah, and you got to remember, like, these are animals, they're low to the ground. So, like, whatever their, like, noses and tongues are coming into contact with on the ground is, you know, that's like us holding a cup to our mouth. Like, they're always putting their nose in any water puddles, anything they see. It's very common practice for an animal to do that, and I've witnessed this going on all the time. So if you have, like, you know, some kind of chemical that's spilled or antifreeze that leaked in your driveway or something, like, these things have to be dealt with.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, you know, like, let me see what else we got. Poison control, toxins. I don't know.
And
There's
you
so
never
many
want to
different
over-vaccinate your pets. Shots are actually known cancer-causing, so you really want to watch. You know, the vets a lot of times are out for money, so you know, not all about all that stuff. You
pick a good
you want
vet.
to get what, yes,
Yeah, pick a
that
good
is very
vet.
important, and you only want to get what they absolutely need.
Yeah, you don't want to overdo it. In fact, when I got this animal here, she had a prescription that she was on that she no longer takes. So, like, that's, you know, like the benefits of doing your homework and looking into things. And well, I thank you for your time, Miss Krystal. You know, like,
Of course.
I thank you for your great work, the great work that you do. I'm
Absolutely.
going to definitely have you back. We're going to do other things, and I really appreciate having you in my life today.
Yes.
So, you want to tell anybody, some of the organizations that, you know, that you do approve of? I mean...
Well, I would
locally?
like to just say, if you're looking for an animal, cat or dog, the ones who need it the most are up at ACT Philadelphia. That's 111 Hunting Park Avenue. They kill for space there. Many very, very amazing, loving dogs there. And yeah, like I said, they need the help the most, and you will not regret it. Rescue dogs, they know when they're rescued. Believe me, I've seen it firsthand. There's also, you know, other shelters and stuff, but the most in need are the kill shelters, which we don't have many of, at least around this way. I don't know about, you know, other areas.
Yeah, so
But-
I'm going to put some links above our heads, and I've been doing that throughout the whole episode. Places where you, like, there's a site, checkyourpetfood.com. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, guys. Do some homework, you know,
Yeah,
do
definitely.
some work. And thank you, Miss Krystal.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
My name's St. John, and this is the Revelation of John show. I want to welcome my guest, Miss Kat Alston. She is super awesome. She is a dog trainer. She specializes in behavioral modification with a focus on fear-reactive and low-confidence dogs. The ability that she has with animals is amazing. I've watched her communicate with animals, and I've learned so much just by being in her presence.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Do you want to tell everyone
Yeah.
who you are and what you do,
Sure,
please?
sure. So it's funny, actually. Pre-pandemic, I was actually a marketing major from Drexel, and that's what I did, corporate America.
Okay.
You know, and all of my dog training experience was all from volunteer work, from when I was a kid to raising my own dogs, neighbors' dogs, training everybody along the way. And then the pandemic happened, and just made me reassess life and what I wanted to be doing in it. And
You had your own inner awakening. I love it.
Absolutely. So I had this, I needed something to fuel me from the inside out, as opposed to going to work every day, getting your paycheck. I needed something that fulfilled my soul or satisfied my soul.
Understood.
And I wanted interaction. So the big thing with the pandemic, we were all stuck in our houses. I was a life insurance broker at the time, actually, and I was just working from home, talking to clients about, preparing for their death and stuff, which was it's just not me. And my girlfriend suggested that, why don't you go help out at a dog like daycare center? That way, you get to be around dogs, have a good time, and then when I did that, I pivoted right into training from there because I used to do that. So I was like, oh, this is great. I can help dogs through this issue because they had the same issues people did.
Right.
Social anxiety, separation anxiety, just not knowing how to be in this world anymore just because of this crazy 2 years we've been having now. So.
And it's not just the owners, it's the animals.
Yeah,
Or no, I
exactly,
mean,
yeah.
it's not just the animals, it's the owners.
Right. Both. It's a two-way street, right? Because a lot of how a dog develops, how a human develops, is based on their relationships, right? A dog, first and foremost, is an animal just like us. So developmentally, all animals kind of develop the same way. Humans go beyond what most animals are capable of. But they're still animals. They're still developing all the same way. So our beginning years are very, very similar. Like raising a dog and raising a child are so similar.
A lot
it's
of
insane.
parallels.
Yeah. So it's funny because a lot of my education, I did some psychology work, which behavioral psychology is nearly the same for childhood development as well as animal development. And I read a whole bunch of books, every type of training style that there is, and created my own style from that.
Nice.
And then a lot of it's just hands-on, being involved, right? So raising my own dogs, raising my own kids,
Sure.
seeing where all the hiccups are, right? And it's so similar, it's ridiculous. So when you see my training style, it's very close to my parenting style, except I'm definitely more patient with dogs than with kids.
Okay, so that's beautiful. And you have a way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, for sure. So I have a website, so it's called thehighpawclub.com. My email is catthedogtrainer@icloud.com. And then you can find me on Facebook, Instagram. We'll set up those links for everybody, right?
So, I want to, throw in here also that it's not just about people that own dogs, or, maybe you have a dog in your life, it's a relative's dog, or maybe it's a neighbor's dog and how you're dealing with that situation, or, you're out with your kids one day at the supermarket and somebody else's dog gets loose.
Yeah.
Proper communication with animals is extremely important,
What's up, sweetheart?
the horrible end result is that someone can get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, and we wouldn't want to see our animals get hurt. We don't want to see people get hurt. The other thing is that when there's a miscommunication with the animal, that people take the animal back and they return it, or they take it to a shelter, and you know, like the worst case scenario, like I spoke before, euthanized.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's in this 2-year pandemic mode. That's exactly what happened. Beginning of this pandemic, people were so lonely, wanting companionship. Shelters were cleared out, right? Every dog was adopted. There wasn't a dog to be adopted because everybody had a home. But then if people started going back to work, all of a sudden the dogs,
they're in the way. They're in the way.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden the animal's in the way.
Right.
It's not the owner in the way, it's the animal.
Like they're no longer useful, so they got rid of them.
Yeah, I just really appreciate you and your gentleness with the animals, and just your overall understanding. So talk about some of the basic things as far as like communication with an animal and how it
Yeah,
occurs.
for sure. So one of the easiest things we can all learn to do is the correct way to approach an animal, right? Dogs, I think, are so obvious with their body language of how they're feeling. Like, for example, if you look at Athena here, right? She actually has very relaxed ears. They're off to the side. She's got her mouth open. She's breathing calmly, giving you good eye contact. You just want your limelight. I see you. You want your 10 minutes of fame. But like reading a dog's like ears, seeing their mouth, right? Seeing their tails. Tails are probably a dead giveaway.
Dead giveaway.
But like a lot of people don't read it correctly. So like if they see a dog's tail wagging, they just assume that's a happy dog.
Right.
Not true, right? So if the dog's tail is up high, wagging fast, that's a happy dog. That's an excited dog. But if the dog is tail is down in the middle, wagging very low, that is a nervous dog. And you see a dog with a stiff tail, that's when you know not to approach.
So
right?
slower and lower means fear
it's like
and lack of confidence in the situation at hand.
Exactly,
Yeah,
So it's like,
great.
That's move slow. That's like the yellow light. Like, that tail's up high and wagging, that's a green light. Go ahead. You can approach that dog. Tail in the middle and low and slow, slow your roll. Right? And if that dog is stiff, don't come any further, Don't even make eye contact. You want to turn to the side, show the dog that you're not a threat and you're not going to invade their space. Because I think, people are the same way.
Sure.
But we're vocal. We can tell each other. It's like, hey, back up.
So what would be some of the communications that you would really like caution, like the red flag, this animal's either injured or hurt or, in desperation or something? What would be some of the signs?
Some of the easiest signs about the fact that the dog does not want you to approach or does not want any interaction with you or is in pain is going to be a shrunken down body. So you're going to see them kind of curved in from like head to tail, like making this like curve down almost into a ball, right? Where they're kind of trying to create a safety net for themselves, right? So they're balling themselves up. Their ears are going to be like glued backwards and their tail is going to be tucked in. Right, so that is like extremely fearful dog, right? Or so that is like extremely fearful either way, right? So that is like extremely fearful dog, or building your way towards trust with that dog, saying that you're going to help them, right?
Even with, in a dangerous situation, I mean, always use caution. You don't want to just approach every animal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, one of the biggest things that everyone should stop doing is throwing your hand in the dog's face. Don't do it. Everyone does it. They're just like, just smell me. It's like, no, the dog's sense of smell is so high, they don't need your hand an inch from their face to smell you. They smelled you like a mile away, So as you're approaching, just take your time. They will approach you if they want interaction, right?
Okay.
If a dog doesn't want interaction, they're going to stay dead still and turn their head away from you first.
Or go do dog things.
Yeah, or
like
walk away.
And,
that's actually a great sign. If a dog sees you, acknowledges you, and then walks away, they say you're cool, right? Like, you're good people, I don't need to watch you. That's a great sign if a dog walks away from you. The best sign is this right here.
When they're at your feet,
when they're just lying down, right down next to you, like they want to be in your space, they want to feel how you feel,
Sure.
The transfer of energy, it's like a beautiful relationship between a dog and a human.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. When you have a better communication, you have a better bond and develop, a better connection with your animal.
We're getting kisses right now.
Yeah, so you'll know you'll know when your animal's distressed, or when there's something wrong, or you'll even know when you're doing something right. I figured that out, by doing the right things for the animal.
For sure.
So, what else would you suggest to somebody as a new dog owner?
Yeah, well, before we talk about new dog owners, I do
Okay.
want to talk about when you see an aggressive dog, or if a dog is like off leash running toward you. Probably some of the best things a person can do is just stand your ground, stand up really tall, and if you just do that stop sign, dogs can read that body language like don't approach, right?
Yeah, maybe yell stop or hold. They
Yeah.
might even respond to that, because
Yeah.
they might know those commands.
For sure, yeah. I mean, even just saying a clear no in as low a baritone voice as you can, and as loudly as you can. But standing up really tall and trying to exude calmness, right? The more calm and confident you are about saying that no and hitting that stop sign, the more likely it is that dog's going to respond,
That's right.
right? Other thing, don't make dead eye contact with the dog, because that is like you guys are sizing each other up. And if that dog is feeling bold and think they can take you, they'll try.
So, you have had lots of experience with lots of different breeds.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
what would you say to somebody, as far as like when it comes to like breed selection in your
I will say this, so like, I personally don't think breeds matter as much as people give it significance to. There are things that certain breeds are more likely to do, like for example, shepherd type dogs. Most likely they're going to need a lot more of an energy outlet than say like a Newfoundland, like a big dog that's just lying down sleeping
or
most of the
cane
time.
corso.
Yeah, or cane corso, right? They look pretty intimidating, but they don't really need so much from you. Yeah, exactly. So it's really like understanding what the breeds were bred for, right? So like if they're very job-oriented type of dogs, every so often you could find the dog that's like, a border collie that's just lazy. It's a rare find, but they're findable. Most border collies have high energy and want tasks to do, right? So make sure the dog fits your lifestyle. So after you've selected like a good dog as far as energy levels, which is what I think is most important as opposed to breeds. Breeds kind of tell you, can tell you how big the dog is going to get, how heavy they're going to get. Personality-wise, it tells you a little bit, but more so the energy level of the dog is what you want to make sure is the right fit with you and your lifestyle. After that, when you have brought this dog home, do very little things, because I think one of the biggest things people do wrong when they first get a dog is expose them to too much too soon. And then that creates a lot of fear with the dog because they're insecure about everything that they just got exposed to. So try to do, one room of a house at a time, just the backyard, one person at a time. Don't have like a dog party as soon as you brought this dog home. Some dogs, rarely, but some dogs will love that. Will love having a party, love everybody. Like, nothing could be wrong in life, but that is a rare find as well. If you have one of those dogs, congratulations. But most dogs, like most people, are going to be selective about how much interaction that they want to handle, right? And at first, just make it a little bit at a time. Show them that, like, you show your animal that you're going to protect them, right? You're going to protect their space. You're going to make sure they don't get overwhelmed. They don't feel insecure. And then you don't have to worry about calling a behavioral modification dog trainer down the road.
Okay.
Because you took your time with your dog.
Okay,
Right?
right. So there are situations where people will go and they'll get an animal, and then the animal may have had some kind of a trauma or
Yeah.
abuse in its past,
For sure.
and like that would be a good time to call a behavioral modification.
Absolutely, yeah.
And other things too, maybe for basic training, things along those lines. I mean,
Yeah.
what's typically the average customer and client that you get as far as?
Generally, it's most of my clients are people that have had their dogs for like a year or two and have had problems for a year or two and just now have started lashing out because they can't tolerate it anymore. So they're aggressively going after something, right? Which a fear-based reaction isn't necessarily aggression. It's just really trying to ask for their space, right? So most owners wait to the point where it seems like their dog is going to attack someone before they start getting any kind of training for their dog. So that's a lot of like, you know, reactive training. So it's called counter conditioning, where we are trying to teach your dog how to respond to a stimulus differently. But after it's been so ingrained into their brain for years, it's going to take a while to make them have an instinctual different response to something. So like people have to understand that it is going to take time. You don't necessarily have to have a trainer with you for a whole year. You could just have that trainer for a month or two. They've given you the tools, but you have to be diligent with your dog. Like take the tools that your dog has learned, that you have learned, and make sure you're continuing their learning and their desensitization to whatever it is that's causing their trauma.
Right.
Which a lot of times we don't know what it is. We just know they have a reaction to something. But
Sure.
generally during training, it gets exposed. You can kind of take a guess as to what it is that caused that trauma.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Wow, I'm always blown away with you know, your knowledge and versatility with the topic. You know,
I'm obsessed with this topic. That's why I do
here's
it.
the thing, right? So like, and you're a great dog behavioral modification dog trainer, you know, therapist for the owner and the dog, right? So let me ask you, what would something like, what are the things that people would want to look for in a dog, you know, a dog trainer or
Yeah.
behavioral mod? What are some of the common
Yeah.
things that you would hope that someone would, you know,
Right. So
have and possess? Because you pretty much have it all, and I'm
Thank
plugging
you.
you. Your ads are going to be everywhere here, and you know. But I want to know,
Yeah.
like, because there's people that are watching this that are way too far away
Yeah.
to utilize your service, obviously. But what would you suggest for those people looking to get something?
yeah, so when you're looking for a good trainer, I think one of the first things you want to look for is how they communicate with you personally, because I think that's where a lot of dog training is hit or miss. They could be fantastic with the animal, but if they can't translate that information to you, you're not going to have a long-lasting effect with your dog, right? So you want to make sure it's somebody that you mesh well with, that communicates well with you, that you really understand what they're trying to coach you to do. Because most of the times dog trainers are also coaches, right? So like we're trying to impart the knowledge that we have to you so you can carry on with your dog, because we're not going to be there all the time, right?
Right.
And like, yes, your dog's going to behave great with me, but they have to do that when we're not there,
Right.
right? So that's, so number
And
one,
we wanna,
make sure.
yeah, we want to try to incorporate it with other people that are involved with the dog
Right,
too.
exactly. So like if you got the
So
information
my
downloaded-
responsibility as an owner of an animal is when you give me the information or I find the information, and then I have to transfer it to the others around me. in the
Exactly, yeah. Any other humans that are in the inner circle of your dog's life should be on the same page with you, right? So like
Right.
whatever your training goal is, or however, whatever rules you have with your dog, they have to be laws, you know, like there's no ifs, ands, or but. That's the rule, that's the law of the household. Everyone's got to be on the same page. Otherwise it causes confusion and insecurity with your dog. Like
Sure.
if, you know, it's one way with one person and one way with another, what's the truth? Right? So like dogs
Right.
need it to be crystal clear. The more like black and white you can be about what you're trying to teach your dog, the better it is for them. Right? The second thing you want to look for in a trainer is their approach, right?
Okay.
So there's a lot of different training styles out there, right? So there's some trainers that still use a lot of force, that'll use like prong collars, that'll physically manipulate the dog and move them around, right? Or give them like, you know, quick corrections and checks, right? Which is still in practice. We're, as an industry, the dog training industry is moving away from that and migrating away from it. But they still exist, right? So not that they don't have, that they're not effective. Like it is effective, but not long term. Generally what I find is when you are forceful with your dog, it might correct that particular issue, but it's going to manifest it as a different issue later.
Absolutely.
So most likely you're going to have to call the trainer again.
Yeah, so you do everything from behavioral modification to
Obedience training.
obedience
Yeah.
training, you do commands.
Yep.
Really, you inform the owner and practice a few
Yeah.
times. That's what
Mhm.
goes on in these sessions, right?
Yep, for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so there's a good connection there.
Yeah.
I've benefited greatly with Athena, just having the 2 visits that we've had. a good trainer does what? An initial interview with the animal and
Yeah,
the
like an
owner?
evaluation. Yep.
Yeah. So, and what would you recommend? Like, I mean, I know that there's some animals that have, you know, severe needs or
Right.
severe situations, but you know, on average, you have two types of structures that you offer, like.
Oh, yeah. So as far as when I'm doing behavioral modification, I generally have a pretty simple approach to it where I will do 4 lessons on one particular issue, right? And generally we're able to address the issue and you'll have the tools to be able to get your dog over that issue, right? And a lot of times once one issue is addressed, a lot of other things will start clearing itself up. Right.
You want to start at the top of them. See.
Good girl.
That's another thing, like reassuring, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, always want to reboost
Yeah.
when they're doing something good, right?
So I'm going to give you the first 3 steps you should do with the dog, especially the first time you get them, right? First thing you want to do is make sure your dog, A, recognizes their name and likes it when you call their name, right? Because a lot of times what people will do, they'll say their dog's name, and it's like always when they're in trouble, right? And your tone changes, and all of a sudden there's a negative connotation with their name, right? So you want to make sure their name is consistently a positive thing, right? So, Athena. Good girl. Yes. And you want to reward them with, there's a couple different ways you can reward your dog, right? We call them currencies, but your dog is squeaking. There she goes, yeah.
Let me see, release. Thank you.
Yeah,
She
so
does know a couple command words
Yeah.
already, so.
no, she's intelligent. She knows a lot of command words. Good girl. So one of the ways you can develop a bond with your dog, right, is first and foremost taking your dogs on a walk. So walking around with your dog, having that relationship with them, just being on leash, is teaching them how they're supposed to respond to different stimuluses in their environment, right? So you're going to be their primary teacher. You teach them while you're on a walk. You could even, walk them in your backyard, walk them up and down the driveway, stay on the block, go on hikes, whatever. But again, don't expose them to too much too soon. Keep it small at first. So just do your house at first, do just the same side of your street, then do the other side of the street, but keep it really, really slow and make sure they are comfortable every step of the way. That builds a huge trust bond between you and your dog. The other huge way to build a great relationship with your dog is to play with them, right? So find a toy that they love, like whether it's a ball, whether it's a stuffed animal like Athena just had, or if it's like tug of war toy, right? Like a rope or pull toy, something like that. Anything that gets your dog playing and gets them, releasing their endorphins and serotonin, and just like really meshing well with you is going to create a huge bond with your dog. Right, Athena? Where's your Lammy?
Where'd Lammy go? Find it.
She's like, I had it. I was hiding it the whole time. Good girl. She's like, I got it. Where's Lammy? That's you. That's your face. Where's Lammy? Oh, good girl. Bring her here. Let's go. Let's go. Bring her here. Oh, you just want to play with Dad, huh?
I know. She's very jealous.
You ready? Sit. Sit down. Good girl. Yes, what a good
She's
girl.
very reward-based.
Aren't we all, though, right?
We are.
Yeah, so those are like the main things you should always do with your dog, Create a bond with them, make sure they respond to your name in a happy way, or their name, not your name. And, take them out on walks. The best.
I use a lot of vocalization with her. I talk to her often as we're doing stuff. She knows where our office is, where we do all our video editing. She knows where her bed is. We call it her blanket. She lays down, and I learned the trick of separating myself from her so that she could build her confidence. I learned that from Miss Cat. So that was one of the main issues with Athena, is she had to sit down. She had a lot of confidence issues. She would like hide behind me, or she would get upset if I left the room, and she would watch the door and growl at people. But she's getting a lot better with that. And now that I have an understanding that it's a confidence issue, not so much as she has a problem with any particular person or situation, that's helped me so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And it's a little bit of a protective instinct too, She wants to make sure you're good.
So one of the new command words that we taught her thanks to Miss Cat, is break. Break means that whatever she's doing that I told her to do, she can stop doing and she can go and be a dog. She could be herself. She could have her own time. This is what Miss Cat explained to me. So I was able to understand what she was saying, and I've been incorporating that with
it's huge.
with her. So I'm going to show you guys how that works real quick, if she lets me. She just wants lots of attention. Okay, can I get you to sit? Can I get you to sit? Can you sit? Come on, sit. Good girl. Come on, sit. Good girl. Okay, you stay.
Dogs respond real well to body
You
language.
stay. You stay. Stay. I shouldn't have to say it 100 times, but I do. Break. Good girl. She knew I was going to do it. She saw the hand go up for the snap.
I said dogs respond so much
She
more
saw
to
my
body
hand
language.
go up with the snap of the fingers. She knows that I'm going to snap my fingers and call her. So that was great. But I actually wasn't calling her. I was telling her to go do her own thing. And we have to let the animals do that, guys.
Yeah. Her own thing is she just happens to love being around you, so. But that's another thing to take note of, right? So like we as humans love verbalizing things, love vocalizing things, right? That's how we communicate. Dogs are very nonverbal creatures. They respond so much more to our body language, more so than our words. Which is a lot of times while you'll see your dog start doing things before you say it, or they respond quicker to your hand motion doing it, or you stepping towards them, things like that. They understand that, yeah, and we're teaching them to understand what we mean when we are talking to them, because that's how we communicate.
Yeah, so I've incorporated everything that this woman showed me, and it's been so beneficial that I highly recommend that if you don't know, that you educate yourself and that you go and look up individuals that have the well-rounded versatility that Miss Cat has, because it's not just about how they are with the animals. It is about communication, guys. One of the reasons why I put this episode together and this podcast is that this is a major emphasis, is to have better communication with the animals.
Yeah.
I think it's extremely important. I never really considered myself a dog person, but I have dogs in my life, and now I am a dog person. My brother had passed away, and I inherited Miss Athena, so she's a good dog. She's a good dog, and my responsibility to her is never going to end. You know, either she goes or I go as far as expiration. Like we die. Somebody has to die for this relationship to end. But at the same time, if you know something were to occur and I had to deal with her, I would make sure that she got to someone safe, someone that's going to care for her and be responsible to her needs.
Yeah. And there's nothing quite as fulfilling as having like a true bond with your dog. Or a client's dog.
Or a client's dog.
Yeah, you're a good girl. But yeah, take your time with your animals. Be patient. That's going to be the number one tool that you could possibly have. Like your patience with your animal is going to pay off tenfold.
Well, thank you, Miss Cat, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
I hope you guys click the links and go and follow and find out on your own. And if you're local, you need behavioral modification, we got it.
Okay.
Call her up. All right,
you need
guys.
a cat to put a dog in line.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks.
Yeah, so pretty deep stuff, man. You know, like the episode was very difficult to do. I will say that, but I have learned quite a bit, and I'm able to bring this information that I've learned to you guys so that you can do something with it. I would hope like, comment, subscribe, follow. If you have any suggestions, sly remarks, whatever, you know, like wherever you saw this, we're streaming on DLive, Twitch, YouTube, several channels, Twitter. There's just so many. I can't even keep up with them all. Let's see. We got. I said Twitch already, right? Oh, Facebook. can't forget Case by Facebook. You know, and you know, like share this information. Share it with your family. Share it with your friends, please. There's no monetary gain here. Like this is about informing people of things that they did not know before. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to watch something that's a little more alternative. I'm going to continue to try to bring this type of content to you. I think it's important that we get our species back on track, guys. And this is episode 1 of Animals in My Life. And we're going to keep that theme going. We're going to run with that because I think they don't have a voice and they need a voice, and we're going to give them a voice. So if you guys have any suggestions, man, I'm open-minded. You know, my line's always open. I'm easy to find. All you got to do is go anywhere and type in the words hashtag Principle of Care, hashtag by St. John, hashtag the Revelation of John Show. Whatever social media platforms pop up that are, you know, in your regular rotation, like, subscribe, follow, comment. You know, like I said, if you got a sly remark or a question or something that contradicts what I said or, you know, what somebody else said, like, we welcome that. Like, this is an open forum. So I'm hoping that I brought some, you know, valuable information to people. You know, like I said, if whether you're a dog owner or not, I don't think that matters in this situation. But maybe it does matter to some people. It doesn't matter to me. I'd like to be able to communicate correctly if a bear was coming at me. You know, I'm just saying, you know, it's my birthday today. So this is my birthday gift to the world. This is what I do. In case nobody's been paying attention for the past 3 or 4 years since I've been getting my life together and like wrapping up different issues and expanding on other, you know, exploring different ideas and coming out with, you know, the message of hope to you guys, the key that turns all the locks, morality. You know, we have to focus on these animals. It's a big thing. But, you know, in case you didn't notice, like every birthday that passes by, usually people significant in my life, their birthdays all have significant meanings. And I utilize them inside of the symbology and the episodes because the people closest to me are the reason why that I'm able to sit here and do this. You know, I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful. My tribe. Hashtag my tribe. You know, hashtag Principle of Care. Hashtag Dynasty Recovery Lifestyle. Hashtag Domestic Tarotist. Yeah, so if you guys like my content, please follow along, man. It's going to be a hell of a journey. We're getting ready to take this thing to the next level. We're going to be going live. It's going to be happening more often. We're going to have special guests. We're going to talk about natural law. We're going to talk about principles. We're going to talk about morality and freedom, love, truth. You know, all those things. We're going to talk about those things, man. But collective consciousness, consciousness of other beings on this planet, very important topic. And this is only the beginning. So get ready. It's coming. And again, I want to thank the people that have taken time out of their schedule to be a part of what I've been doing. You know, what I'm trying to do for everyone else. So thank you guys. And happy birthday, John. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Stay tuned. There's a lot more coming, man. We got good episodes. We're going to be talking about housing. We're going to be talking about residents that got their life together, man. Oh, man. Woo, that's going to be awesome. And then we're going to talk about Angel and the limo. We're getting back with Bobby again. We're going to talk about the principle of perseverance and what that means in people's lives. We're going to talk about, you know, dogs again. We're going to talk about turtles. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff, guys. And we're going to talk about stopping the vote. You know, like they got the whole rock the vote. And I just got off the phone today with one of my cohorts in this mission, Jonathan. Right, not everybody agrees with his, you know, what his beliefs or, you know, where he's pursuing the rights of natural law. I actually do agree with him because not that I'm a flat earther and I don't want to get into and make this about flat earth, but I will say that, you know, like when we're talking about, you know, people and differences in opinions, like, is it harming anybody for people to walk around and think they're, you know, they have a rainbow unicorn in their garage? Like, does it hurt people? Like, I don't understand. I don't think any of that is even relevant. And I'm not able to go up there and look down and see what's going on. And we're going to get into that. We're going to have a 24-hour live stream coming right around the election time. We're going to talk about stopping the vote. Because if you guys think that there's somebody that you're going to be able to elect into an office that's going to straighten out this mess, not going to happen. I suggest you go to the onegreatworknetwork.com. That's the word one, ONE, great, GREAT, work, WORK, network.com. And find out the different content creators there and what's been going on. Like, they'll steer you in the right direction with some of these topics, such as government, politics, slavery, holistics, mental health. There's so many good, great creators on this network. It's unbelievable. I like the fact that Jonathan has that alternative point of view. I mean, I'm not able to go up there and look around. I want to go in there. And remember when they were going to storm Area 51? Well, I think that's what has to happen in order for us to find out what's really going on. Because I don't believe anything they say. I don't believe anything they promote. I don't believe anything that they put out. And most of the people around me feel the same way. We're going to bring light into the darkness. The people that are involved with this right now, the people that are working towards these goals with me and others like me, are bringing the light to the darkness. And I'm going to do this. You guys, if you don't like what you're watching, if you don't like what you see, you can unsubscribe, you can unfollow. You know, you could, you know, give me some kind of a hit, a strike, a guideline, or copyright, or I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. And I think everybody knows that. So I do want to say that I am very appreciative of these people that have helped me get this far with this. And I do want to thank the One Great Work Network and the content creators there. Their material has been immensely satisfying to the soul and very informative. Like, we have to break down these barriers of ignorance, people. And if you don't know something, you have to go look into it. You have to get to the bottom of things. You have to pay attention to what you're caring about. You have to pay attention to how you're judging others and what purposes you have and what your motives are and what your, you know, all these things. They all must be close. Close as your thoughts and your heart melded together. You know, I'm hoping that this episode makes some kind of a difference. I know that I'm going to work on putting together some kind of dog pound segments that can be dropped within the Revelation of John show and any offshoots, so that we can always bring the latest animals to light as far as they need help and can somebody get them. So we're going to do that as well. I'm working on working that out. And this is the first live stream, guys. This is the first live stream airing an episode and like trying to, you know, gain the support of being live and being able to communicate with people on a, you know, on a cross-platform level, on a cross, you know, social media platforms, across a few of them. You know, hopefully a following will develop and, you know, like we can get this message out, man, because it's really important. But you can find all my work. My work's easy to find. It's at thelostprinciple.com. You can also find all my work located on the onegreatworknetwork.com. If you search under content creators, you will see me in there. I'm available. Like I said, comment, like, subscribe, follow. If you have any questions, please just ask, man. There's no such thing as a stupid question. But there definitely is such a thing as a stupid society, and we're living in it, man. So I look forward to seeing and hearing from you guys. Stay tuned.